Here are the 17 footers that are going to use for the mast. And here are two 12 footers that I'm going to cut in half and make the boom and gaff out of. Just sorting out the final measurements. Haven't used a saw for a while, so I'm just trying to rethink everything. Yeah, I've become an expert for about a week, and then I start forgetting, so it's taking a little while to get everything sorted out. The saw worked pretty well. Both of these are 12 feet. These two at the bottom are 17 feet. And again, the numbers are, the mast is 16 feet, 3 inches, 3.5 inches. The gaff is 9 feet, 1/2 inch, and the boom is 11. So I've got an inch to spare. Kind of running that tight, but I'll just have to be careful. Anyway, I'll probably make the 11 one first. So if it screws up, I can cut it back to 9. The max diameters, this thing is 3 1/4, and these are 1 7/8, 1 5/8, and this other one is just under 5 feet, and 1 5/16. So I've got some planing to do next several days, and I mean these babies at the bottom are 2 inches, and I do have a knot that's I gotta figure out where to put that and how to fix it. Rest of it looks really good. It's going to be very heavy, but I'm going to go this way and see if I can make it work. I belt sanded the two mating surfaces that I'm going to put glue, and now I'm setting up a dry run with clamps. So I had to flip these end to end, and that gets me opposing grain. It shows up pretty well on the other one. Sanded this rigid belt sander with 80 grit sandpaper, a new belt, which I put the hose on it, on the vacuum cleaner, so it was not totally disgusting. So now I'm doing a dry run, make sure I have enough clamps. I got a little bit of a, well, it's not so bad this time. Maybe it was this one. Yeah, there it is. There's a little bit of a separation here, so I've got to get these guys lined up. I mean, this is about as flat as I've got here. I put a level on it. It's slightly uphill through the garage, but so you can see it's slightly uphill in the garage, but I'm not sure I can do this without knocking these things on the floor here. So yeah, see there, it's uphill. Both of them are about the same. So there's a slight pitch uphill. Now there's a gap here, which I'll check it again when I take that out, but I'm going to just press those together, clamp them together. And I've left them large. Well, I'm going to mark it from the center, not from the edge, so if there's a little bit of a wow in this thing, that'll take it out. At least that's the hope. Here's the mock-up of all the clamps. I think these planks are wide enough that I don't need to put planks between them. Anyway, I do have to put tape on these things so I keep from getting glue all over the place, epoxy all over the place. I had the heater on earlier. I was going to do this last night and didn't. The garage is cooled off, so I'm going to keep it cool for right now. It'll slow the epoxy down while I'm working with it, but then I will put the heater on and warm the place up. So for right now, I don't have enough clamps to do all 3 of these spars, so I'm just going to do these 2 and get those done. I have to decide if I want to just sand them or run them through the planer before I epoxy them. I'm not worried about trying to get these. I'm more worried about getting the grain right and the surface prep right. Oh, and I will wipe these down. I've got to see if it's acetone or alcohol. I forget which it is, whatever the instructions say. I'm going to use West Systems, and since it has cooled off, I'm going to go ahead and use the well, I'll either use the 205 or 206, one or the other. Phew. Step 2, mix up epoxy. I tried to figure out what's the right amount. I'm going to go with, I think 4 or 5 pumps. I'm going to see what 4 looks like and then maybe do 1 more. I'm using the 206 hardener, not because of temperature, just because I want to have the working time. So I'm going to wet both surfaces and then thicken it, then make some thickened epoxy, and then coat one surface with that, put them together. So there they are, all 4 done and all gone. I did 8 pumps instead of 4, and now I'm going to do 5 more and thicken it. So I did 6 pumps, and it was of 105, 206, and whatever I showed before. Well, that's the thickener. Anyway, I put that on there, and I was going to do 4, or I was going to do 5, and I said I'll do 6, and it just was enough. So I've done these two center boards. I'm going to run a tooth trowel down the length and then put these guys together. And no, that's right. I don't have my mask on. Bad Jeff. I'm going to put it back on here in a second. Here's the whole thing clamped up. I 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. So 11 clamps per board, and then a C-clamp here to straighten this sides up. These guys had a little bit of bowing I needed to press on. I think we're okay here. I might put another one on there. Right in here, maybe a little gap. So, yeah, I probably could have used maybe done one of these at a time and used all the clamps at one time, but the good is the enemy of good enough. We'll see how this works. There's a squeeze out. I got had 6 pumps, so I got about half a pump of squeeze out. I got a little bit more to go chase right now, but so it's 7:40 in the morning. I got an early start today, and so it's 17. That's 5. So late this afternoon, I'll pull the clamps off and see how this is doing. After I last videoed the clamp situation, I went into a panic and found all the other clamps I could pull together. And there's now 41 clamps on here. It's been, what is it? It's like 10 o'clock at night, so it's been well over 10 hours since they were glued up. I'm going to pull the clamps off now and then look at these in the morning. And so these are done. I will say they are a bit heavy. And this one's got a little bit of a nick in it. So I'll probably make the boom out of this one and the gaff out of this one. Here's the dry fit that I'm looking at right now. I've done two things. One is I marked a snap line on either side of this corner, ½ inch in. I have another issue, and that is I have this knot right here. So I said, well, is this going to get in the way? Do I have to fiddle with this? So I say, okay, well, what's the ultimate diameter going to be at this point? Well, there's 16 feet, 3.5 inches. That's the overall length. So that's right here. And that puts this knot as close to this end as possible so that the diameter of the mast is minimum at this point. Now, this was sort of in the middle. I saw this. It was 23 feet originally. I sawed off those guys there. So they're about 6 feet, maybe a little bit longer actually. But anyway, so they're 16 and 3.5 inches. And from here, did I mark it? I didn't mark it. So 5 feet, 60 inches down here is where it goes to 3 inches, somewhere down in here. So it goes from 3 inches diameter down to 2 1/8. So there's the 3 inches to 2 1/8. I'm just assuming that that's the same diameter at the end. That's not going to affect this. This is far and good enough for what we're doing. And it's over 60 inches between these two. So I say, well, from here to here is 17 inches. So 17 over 60 that's 0.283 of the length. And so I say, what's the difference between this two? The diameter drops from 3 down to 2 1/8, 2.125. Ends up being 0.875. And I scale this down by this amount. Now, I got to make sure I've done this right, because I'm doing this piece here. So I want to know, yeah. So how much I want to find out what the increase in diameter is. So I take this distance over the full length. I get that number. I scale the full difference in diameter. I get this. But it drops. It increases by about 1/4 inch from here to here. And I say, okay. So the diameter goes from 2 1/8 to 2 3/8. Half of that is 1 3/16. So that's the radius of that is the radius of the mast at the point
where this knot is. So I draw up a cross section. So here's the, here, what is this? It's 3 and 7/8 by 3 7/8. I find the center coming from the corners. I use, I'll try to do this with these cheap little compasses, compasses, I assume. And it doesn't work. So I mark this and I scratch. Well, this is set up for a different distance now, but I set this radius to 1 3/16. I scratched it in there and I've marked it in with a pencil so you can see it. And then I say, okay, where's this knot? Well, the knot is whatever this distance was from here to here, from the center, so from there to there, and then from this edge to this edge, from here to here, and there's a knot. So that knot is going to be well outside the diameter of the mast when I get done with it. So I'm not going to fiddle with this. I was thinking, oh, I got to put a plug in here, and when do I do that? Well, I don't have to do that. That's a clamp mark. But no, this is the only knot. These are really beautiful Douglas fir boards, I got to say. They have nothing else in them except maybe sap. But so again, the two things I got out of this was I have a really good straight corner here. This corner running down there is my reference. And based on this, I figured out that this knot is not a problem. How punny of me. Anyway, now I just have to decide if I'm going to glue this thing up and surrender or if I'm going to push it through the planer. I finally came to a decision about whether or not I was going to push these through the planer. It's going to be a hassle, but they are not even close to being square. Now I gotta get this guy. He's pretty close. He's pretty close. Yeah, he's pretty close, but this one is not. And as I'm looking at this, I see a gap. Okay, so through the planer they go. Oh joy. Back later. So if I end up having to cut these with my 10 1/4 circular saw, well, I could plane them down, I guess, but it's going to end up being a lot to plane. Before I cut away all the material, I want to be able to get these things glued together and make sure I've got a nice straight glue line. And if I don't have a nice straight glue line, that I can mark off. I can mark the actual center line and ignore the glue line. And but anyway, so these are planed. What the hell is that? Oh, that's yeah. It's so from dragging this thing across the I think each other, but these are the good face. This is the mating surface, so I'm going to be protective of this. And let's see, the other one crash. That's right, beat it up. So yeah, it's just that one gouge up there, but I don't care about that because I'm going to be cutting that off anyway. So these are my good surfaces. These are the two good surfaces here. And I still have to go in and scuff them up with 80 grit sandpaper. And make my final decision about what glue I'm going to use. One of the things you have to do when you're lining things up is make sure that if you're going to use a laser, that is, make sure your tripod is set up. So here's a tripod. It's a reasonable tripod. The way you start out is it's got rubber feet, but it's got points on the ends. So I've retracted the rubber feet so that it's sitting on the metal points. So I've got nice contact. And then I bring out the lower piece. And I bring out the lower piece about 1 inch to start with. On all three. And then I line up the table, and there's a level here and a level up there. I'm using this level to give me my final number, because this is a little adapter that goes on here, and my laser level, which I'll show more in a minute, is sitting on this thing. So you want to know, how does it line up with this axis? And I'm not going to, I've already adjusted it, but you adjust one axis at a time, one leg at a time. So if this is pitched like this, it's got to get shorter. If it's pitched like this, it's got to get longer. I do the same. I go over here. So I'm lined up with that leg. And there you go. And the same way with this one. There you go, nice and level. And you do the same thing. If it's pitched up, if you have to make it shorter. If it's pitched the other way, you have to make it longer. And then you also want to go around and point in both directions, because this way should be the same as this way. And the whole thing you're trying to do is get this thing spinning around the axis of this of the tripod. So because I can't, so what am I doing? I'm going to line up the glue joint with the alignment thing, because that way I know I'm flat. I know that I mean these things are all the same height sort of, but I've got little wedges. So I've got I've got little wedges. These are, they come in wood or they come in plastic. And these are for adjusting door jambs when you're installing a door. And I'm just going to put those under the the Mast to be. I just want to make sure I've gone through the exercise getting these things flat, and these things are now all these surfaces are parallel. The planing works fine. The circular saw, I have real trouble given the length keeping this stuff on the board or on the fence. But anyway, the bottom line is that the cut in the table saw was not great. I'm going to work around that. I'm not worried about that. But I know all these mating surfaces are really clean, and the tops and bottoms are close, and everything's nice and parallel. So that I've got. So I've got that plane. So I need to line that up with this level, and then get that horizontal. I mean, it could be pitched up, who cares? But I want everything in the same plane. And I don't have an aluminum I-beam to bolt my stuff to. So this is the material I've got. And well, once I get this set up, I'll show a picture of that. So there's the center line of the board. So I marked that. These are 17 feet long, and it's 8.5 inches. So I line this puppy up like that. And let me see if I can do this without. So there I'm looking in from below. Put the light on. Let me click the light off. So there it is. And you can tell that I don't want to unalign it, but it's lined up right with the glue joint, with this, actually the seam between the two pieces of wood. Now, if I move this off to the right, let me take a picture of this with the light on. So there's the glue joint, and there's the laser. So this end is pitched down by quite a bit, and I go over here and I got light off that. Block that a little bit. So there's the glue joint here. Right there, and then the laser is below laser. So it's well over a quarter of an inch. It's getting worse. So this thing is, bottom line is, this end is high. It's probably this basement floor. Anyway, so this is what happens when you do optical alignment for spaceflight calibration. You never forget. I don't think doing an arc-second alignment procedure is really required for this, but we ain't even close to that. So I'm going to level this up. I'm going to try doing that right now. So I've done some stuff at the other end, but I had to raise it up. This is real close. Let me see if I can turn it off. Yeah, it's real close. It's right on the edge there. And we come down to the other end. It's pretty much right on the money. It's right there. I had to put all these blocks and stuff under there. But now, if we go to the middle, there's the edge. And the line, thing's sagging about a quarter of an inch. So just because you get the ends right doesn't mean it's done. So now I have to go along and wedge these things up. Bottom line, get the ends and then get the middle and then check it again. All right, there you are. So it's a little bit high. Down here, that's a little bit high as well. Bring the stuff down here. And there's the glue line. This is right on the line. So it needs a little more adjusting. The other thing you need to check is that this piece is level. So this is, I try to get it perfect, but if it's within the lines, I'm calling it good. So there's this one, and that's about as, I can't really fiddle with that. I mean, any adjustments I make at the other end is going to impact this, and I'm not adjusting that, so there's nothing I can do. Here's the other one. Let's see if I can creep under there. So there, this is touching the other line. So there's a little bit of twist between there and there, which is tiny, and I'll take care of that later. So I've got, so the point of this exercise is I can't look at the other side. So I need to know that this is level and it's aligned with this edge, and this top is level, and I plane these, all four of these faces, so I assume the glue line's level on the other side. That's the best I can do. So this guy is as level as I'm going to be able to get it with this gear. I just want to make sure I don't have a twist or a bend in this, because once you get that out in there, I probably don't have enough wood to do anything fancy. Well, so let's jump to this. I put blue tape holding down the spacers, at least temporarily, and it shows me where to put the wood in case it comes off. And I also marked the position of the sawhorses. I couldn't get to the back, but this is enough. The point being, you bump stuff, and I also did the tripod. Stuff gets bumped, and if you don't have a way, you need to know where it was. So this is a poor man's optical alignment setup. So next is to cover these up with clear plastic, which I don't know where. I got to get some clear plastic. I don't have any right now. And then mix up some epoxy. After considering multiple options and planning all along to use G-Flex epoxy, I finally watched enough videos to say I'm not going to bother, since one option that I have for the keel is to cut laminates from the wood that I have, which is green, and I could probably steam bend it without laminating it. But in case I have to laminate it, I'm going to save the G-Flex epoxy and go ahead and use 105-206 with 403 and 406, which is what I did for these guys. So I'm just going to, which is the gaff and the boom. So I'm going to just treat them the same. Acorn, let's see, Acron-to-Arebella had some guy come in and help them with their main mast. Now this was spruce, not Douglas fir, but they were using Total Boat high performance 2-to-1 with 403 and 406. So they had multiple scarf joints. It's like a 41 foot stick. This is much shorter, much less stress. It's going to be heavy anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and make my life simple. Use 105-206 and the 206 just so I have pot life. So let's see, I have removed the clamps. I've separated the two planks. I've taped up all the planks. I got all kinds of clamps rather. I have sanded the mating surface with 80 grit sandpaper. I used a tack cloth on it. You got to go over and make sure I get rid of all the residue of paper towel that may be there. I've cleaned the surface with the Alcohol white paper towel. I've covered the sawhorses with plastic, clear plastic, so I can line up the these guys. As a matter of fact, you could see that it was still well aligned. Next is mixed unthickened epoxy 105-206. I calculated based on those guys up there. It took 8
pumps. And then 6 with the thickened. I'm going to do 9 pumps because that's 120 square inches on those 4 surfaces, and these 2 surfaces are 127. It's sort of remarkable, but 120, almost 127 and a half. So it's 9, and then I'll do 7 with thickened epoxy, and it'll drip all over the place, and I'll have a mess, but I don't care. Anyway, so I'm ready to mix epoxy and put it down. Boy, am I! It took just about an hour. How many clamps I got here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 37. 37 clamps. I did, so I did 10 pumps plus of unthickened plus 7 pumps. And I've got, that's after scooping up stuff. So I've got that's about 2 pumps. It's maybe 3 pumps. So there's a lot of squeeze out. I was slathering it on heavily. So it's been an hour, 57 minutes. So we will take a look at this. What is it? I think it's like 3 in the afternoon, so 10 hours. So I'll look at it tomorrow morning. Oh, I'm going to do this real quick. All right. Right on the money. So that's about as good as we can get. So I started gluing yesterday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's 7 in the morning the next day. I just turned the heater off. It turned on about 11 o'clock last night. Here's the post glue up alignment. We're Bad City there. Let's do it on the sawhorses. There you go. Now I got to figure out how to tear this puppy apart. That'll be easy. And take all the glue off. I mean the tape off. It's a nice late fall morning. So there it is, and we'll disassemble this another forest of clamps to be deforested. TTFN.